Hello, music fans. November 2023 is over, so it's time to count down my 10 favorite albums that came out this month. As usual, I'm focusing on metal, rock, and prog, as those are the main genres that I listen to. And let's jump right in with my number 10. My 10th favorite album that came out in November 2023 is by a band called Maladie, and it's called For We Are the Plague. This is progressive avant-garde black metal. It's the seventh album by this German band. It came out on November 24th. There's lots of great variety on here, especially for a black metal band. There's clean singing as well as harsh shrieking. There's piano as well as intense guitars and blast beats. My number 9 is by a band called Psychedelic Crumpets, and the album's called Fronzoli that came out on November 10th. This is psychedelic garage rock with progressive and alternative influences. It's the sixth album by this Australian band. I heard the single I'm a Cadaver Alakazam ahead of the release and I enjoyed it, so I decided to check out this album. My initial impression is that I didn't like it as much as their last album, but it's pretty close and it's still decent. It's a bit more hard rocking than I expected. Number 8 is by Virgil Morse and Jennings, and it's their second album called Sophomore that came out on November 10th. This is acoustic folk rock with progressive influences. They're a super group that features Nick DiVirgilio of Big Big Train, who used to be in Spock's Beard. They also feature Neil Morse of Transatlantic, Neil Morse Band, Flying Colors, who also used to be in Spock's Beard, and Ross Jennings of Haken and Novena. All three members on here sing, so they do a lot of nice three-part harmonies for fans of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. I think this one is a step up from their debut album. There's really nice melodies and harmonies. I like that it has more progressive vibes than their debut. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a Christian band for sure, but the lyrics sound a little Jesus-y from time to time. I know Neil Morse has written a lot of worship music in the past. That aspect of it is not for me, but the songs and performances on this album are great, so I look past it. My number 7 is an EP by Spiritbox, and it's called The Fear of Fear. It came out November 3rd. This is progressive metalcore. It's got a lot of pop, it's got alternative, post-metal, and djent influences all in there, and it's the fourth EP by this great Canadian band. Great female vocals on here with both harsh screaming and clean singing from Courtney LaPlante. She always writes and performs great melodies when singing. She can scream like a beast when it's breakdown time. Number 6 is another EP by Toehider called Horse EP. And this came out to his people who follow him on Patreon a little earlier, but it was made generally available to all of us on Spotify on November 3rd. This is progressive rock and metal. It's the fourth of the 12 EPs that Toehider made in 2023. The last song on this album, East Out, is truly horrible, but I see in the description of the EP on his Bandcamp that he tried to make the worst song he could, so it's actually intentional. It's got ridiculously overused auto-tune. The vocal production sounds irritating. The lyrics seem pretty ridiculous, but it's all kind of fun. It's like watching a movie that's so bad it's good. The other three songs are pretty great. The first one, Horse Song, has a traditional heavy metal vibe with the typical Iron Maiden galloping rhythms, which is perhaps why you call it Horse Song. And it also has a bit of punk energy to it. The vocals on this song are just amazing. In the second track, How Do I Dial It Down, I like how he sings in his lower register at some parts. He usually sings really high, so this was nice to hear Toehider sing low. He really does it well. But later in the song, he hits some of the most intense high notes as well. So this song has some of the wildest vocal ranges I've heard. I like the ending orchestral stuff. It sounds really epic and cinematic. And then the third song, No One Wants to Hear Another Song About Your Heart, is more of an acoustic rock song. Number 5 is by Gong, and it's called Unending Ascending. This is psychedelic space rock with some jazz, progressive influences thrown in there. And it's really hard to count how many albums this multinational band has put out. They formed back in Paris in 1967. I think this is technically their 16th released under the name Gong, but there were 8 released under Pierre Moreland's Gong. 4 is Gongzilla, 1 is Gong Espresso, 1 is New York Gong, and a bunch of Mother Gong. And seemingly all of these have a different set of members going off and forming different branches. And I had heard some of their songs before and enjoyed the spacey ambient vibes, but I never listened to a full album by them until this one. I really enjoyed this. Now I'll probably get sucked down the rabbit hole and need to listen to all of their work. Any Gong experts out there, definitely let me know which ones to start with in their big discography. This album reminds me of Syd Barrett era Pink Floyd sometimes, right from the opening track, Tiny Galaxies. But then the second track, My Guitar is a Spaceship, is great. My favorite track on here is Choose Your Goddess. Lots of cool odd time signature changes, polyrhythms, syncopations on the album. There's also good atmosphere and spaciness. I highly recommend checking it out. It's an amazing band. They started long ago, but it's great that they're still putting out quality. I guess they have no original members left in the band, so maybe that explains how they're keeping fresh. But unfortunately, it looks like several past members have passed away. Number 4 is Temic and their album Terror Management Theory. This is progressive metal. It's the debut album by this supergroup that features Eric Gillette from the Neil Morse Band on guitars and backing vocals, Diego Toehider, formerly of Haken, on keyboards, Frederick Bergerson of Marathon on vocals, and Simon Sadness of Shining and Archetype on drums. This is one of the best prog metal debut albums of the year. This has been a great year for prog metal debut albums. I expect this will be on my year-end list somewhere. Just need to listen to it more to decide exactly where. Number 3 is Press to Enter and their album From Mirror to Road. This is another progressive metal debut album, this time by a Danish band with great female clean vocals throughout the whole album. No harsh vocals on here. The vocals are really catchy. They sound like pop vocals, but the instrumentals behind them are complex with time signature changes for fans of Dream Theater, Haken, intervals, animals as leaders. There's lots of great guitar leads, djenty rhythms. I think fans of Sordid Pink, previously known as Destiny Potato, will also like this because they have similar pop female vocals over djent style prog metal. Sounds like they've got some inspiration for techniques from Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders. When I listened to this album by Press to Enter, I heard some of Tosin Abasi's double thumb picking style and a lot of the types of chords and harmonies that Tosin likes to use in Animals as Leaders. Number 2 is Earthside and their album Let the Truth Speak. This is progressive metal with symphonic and post-rock influences. It's the second album by this American band. I also love their debut album from 2015, so I was excited to hear this. This album, like their debut, is also great. It's very cinematic, features a lot of different guest musicians, especially vocalists, most notably Daniel Tompkins of Tesseract on vocals on the title track, Bard Colsted from Leprous on drums on All We Knew and Ever Loved. But there are other guests on here that I hadn't heard of before that are also great, like Katura, who provides excellent female vocals on 2 of the tracks, We Who Lament and Denial's Aria. My favorite tracks are We Who Lament, Denial's Aria, Let the Truth Speak, and All We Knew and Ever Loved. And then my number 1 album of November 2023 is by a band called Ions, and it's called Counterintuitive. This is progressive metal with djent style guitar playing, some ambient influences, alternative and post-rock all mixed in there. It's the second album by this band from the Czech Republic for fans of Tesseract. Really great rhythmic stuff on this album, but also great vocal melodies and atmosphere. Check out the song Run for a preview of what this sounds like. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my top 10 albums of November 2023. What were your favorites that came out this month? Let me know down in the comments. What do you think of these albums on this list? Also let me know, and stay tuned for the next video. Peace out.